With so many sales on these days, how do you know when you've seen a good deal? We make it easier by trawling through the deals for you to find genuinely good prices on genuinely good products, all packaged up into a free monthly newsletter. Using internal pricing data and our own market knowledge, we keep an eye on price changes and let you know whether a product is at its cheapest point. From bargains on TVs to discounts on laptops, the products we share have all been put under the Which microscope, meaning we only recommend deals on items we know work well. Our expert advice cuts through the noise to share reductions and reviews which we think will interest you. So make sure you sign up for our brand new Deals newsletter to help you grab the genuine bargains. Just head to which.co.uk/WP_deals. That's which.co.uk/WP_deals. Hello and welcome to the Which Shorts podcast. I'm James Rowe. Each week we give you a flavour of one of the Which magazines and bring to life a piece that was written by one of our brilliant writers. This week we're focusing on electric vehicles and the big savings you can make when buying a used car. In the October edition of the Which magazine, Michael Passingham and Dino Buratti explained how nearly new EVs could save you nearly 50% off the original list price and put together their tips for saving big on electric cars. Here's their piece, adapted for the podcast, read by Michael himself.
The electric vehicle market is awash with big discounts. There are a number of reasons for this. From the market reaching saturation point among those willing to be early adopters, to the UK government-mandated EV sales targets that require EVs to make up 22% of most car company sales in 2024. The upshot is that there's big money to be saved on certain new and nearly new electric cars. If you're on a tight budget, but nervous about buying a used EV due to concerns about battery degradation, our annual survey suggests that this simply isn't a significant problem. In our 2023 survey, owners of EVs registered after 2019 told us their car still delivered 98% of their original range on average. Plus, manufacturers typically provide long warranties specifically for batteries, usually around 8 years or 60 to 100,000 miles. Although, when buying a used vehicle, it's worth checking that the car's been serviced according to the manufacturer's schedule and that the warranty is still valid. We did some snapshot analysis using AutoTrader and CarWow, where dealerships often advertise their latest and greatest deals. It didn't take us long to find a Peugeot E308 GT exclusively offered through CarWow on behalf of Perry's Peugeot for just $21,995. That's 48% off the list price. What's more, it was listed as having under 100 miles on the clock. Meanwhile, on AutoTrader, we spotted a Nissan Leaf N connector on sale at Braley's Nissan for $16,481. That's 47% off the list price for a car that's only done 10 miles. Similar deals can be found on high-end EVs too, such as the Audi RS e-tron GT Carbon Black, which we found on sale at West London Audi for £80,000, which is 43% off the list price. This one had 100 miles on the clock, and the dealership told us that it had been used as a static demo car. Of course, a discounted EV isn't necessarily a good EV, and some of the models we found didn't score particularly well in our latest reliability survey, which members can read all of our car reviews on our website, or if you're not a member, then check out the link in the show notes to grab a membership for 50% off the usual price. Regardless of fuel type, discounts on nearly new cars aren't uncommon. However, the sheer size of the discounts on some nearly new EVs is startling. One reason why certain manufacturers are running large discounts on their EV models is the government's Zero Emission Vehicle Mandate, or ZEV, which applies to any brand that sells more than 2,500 cars per year in the UK. It dictates the proportion of EVs a manufacturer must sell in the UK. In 2024, this proportion is 22%, and it gradually increases year after year. Business and fleet sales account for the vast majority of new EVs in the UK, but they don't typically buy cars from traditional car dealerships. They'll either go directly to the manufacturer or a specialist fleet management company. This leaves traditional dealers that need to sell EVs in a hard place, as they have to balance meeting sales targets with the fact that private demand for EVs is relatively limited. We've also spoken to dealers that mention the cars they've offered are ex-showroom demonstrator models or were bought from the manufacturer for significantly less than the list price. We've also seen some EVs advertised with heavy discounts as the brand is in process of phasing the model out. One downside with these deals is that you need to be flexible on trim levels and optional extras. Aside from metallic paint, most of the models we identified didn't come with any extras. On the other hand, you might find a high-end model with lots of options that you might not even want. If you have something specific in mind, you might end up having to wait a long time for a deal to materialize, or just accept that you won't find as big a discount on it. Not all manufacturers offer significant discounts. Tesla, for example, is under no pressure to meet the ZEV mandate, as its entire range is electric, though that hasn't stopped it dropping the price of its Model 3 and Model Y. We've also found that some deals can disappear very quickly, but there's generally a lot of choice with discounted cars, so don't feel disheartened if you miss out. If you like the idea of buying an EV, then do consider how feasible it would be for you to charge it. How much it costs to charge an electric car largely depends on where you charge it. If you have off-street parking and a home charger, you'll have access to the cheapest rates and you'll save a considerable amount of money compared to refueling a petrol or diesel car. If you don't have a home charger or are on a long journey, you'll need to make use of the public charging network, which is typically much more expensive than charging at home. When using public chargers, you can end up paying more per mile than it would to refuel a comparable petrol or diesel car. It can be very cheap to charge at home, especially if you have an off-peak tariff that allows you to charge your car when demand for electricity is low, at night for example. While it can cost as little as 7p per kilowatt hour to charge at home, public chargers can cost more than 10 times this. 79p per kilowatt hour is a typical price for an ultra-rapid public charger. Based on our lab tests, we've calculated that if you pay more than around 50p per kilowatt hour to charge, it would be cheaper to run a traditionally fueled equivalent. However, the precise point at which electric becomes more expensive than petrol or diesel depends on the car in question. As an example, our lab tests show medium-sized electric hatchbacks, such as the VW ID3, have an average efficiency of 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour. That means a car this size will typically use 2,203 kilowatt hours over 7,050 miles, the average annual mileage from the latest Which? Car survey. If you were to pay 41p per kilowatt hour to charge, that would mean you're paying 12.8p per mile, which is slightly more expensive than the equivalent sized diesel car. This would be the case only if you charge solely using public charging points, but this is important to consider if you can't charge at home. As I've mentioned, there are some amazing deals out there, but also a few things to be aware of. Here are 5 tips to finding a cheap, nearly new EV. 1. When scouring online buying sites for deals, use the filters to search for electric cars and set the mileage to under 100 miles. If you get nothing, increase the mileage until cars start appearing. Next, either use the filters to set a maximum price or sort by the cheapest first. 2. Once you've found a few cars, it's time to work out how good the deals actually are. Our car reviews show you how much the entry-level model costs to buy new, including any typical discounts. You can also check the list price for specific models on the manufacturer's website. 3. We found numerous nearly new electric cars with very little mileage that were a couple of years old. As well as getting a shorter manufacturer warranty, an older model might mean you're not getting the very latest version of a car, losing out on some extras as a result. 4. As always, do your due diligence before parting with any cash. Look for reviews on the dealer, check for any returns policy, and be sure to ask whether there's any damage to the car. It's also worth checking that the manufacturer warranty is still valid. And finally, number 5. Many dealers offer delivery, but this will likely come at a cost of at least £100, unless free delivery is part of the deal. Collecting the car yourself is likely to be cheaper, especially if you're buying a fairly popular model that's available at many dealerships.
Michael Passingham was reading his own piece written alongside Dino Burati, originally published in the October edition of The Which magazine. To read it in full, then be sure to become a Which member. It's the only way you can read all of our car reviews in full. I'll pop a link in the show notes for you to find out more. We'll be back next week for another episode of Which Shorts, but in the meantime, why not check out some of our other podcasts from us here at Which. We've got the Money Podcast, where we give you a weekly dose of financial advice, and Get Answers, where we cover everything from scams to home energy and car hire to shopping safely on online marketplaces. Which Short was produced and edited by me, James Rowe, while the exec producer was Samara McCarrath.
Next time you need to get work done on your home, or your car, or your garden, make sure you choose a trader you can trust. And don't just choose any trader, choose a Which trusted trader. Our trading standards professionals only endorse traders who've passed our rigorous assessment that includes credit reports, customer satisfaction surveys, reference checks, and interviews. When we say a trader is good enough to display our Which Trusted Trader logo, you can trust us. But don't take our word for it. Search Which Trusted Traders online to see our directory of around 4,000 traders. Every customer review you read there is verified genuine by our moderators, so you can choose with confidence. To find a local trader you can trust, search Which Trusted Traders or go to which.co.uk/traders. That's which.co.uk/traders. Everybody needs a trader they can trust.